What are some tragic things that have happened in your
Oh
life?
gosh.
What are obstacles that you're overcoming?
That's the other thing with American Idol. Once you get past like the first or second round, you're all of the once they've chopped it down from the 20,000 to like 200, you come back and then they go down to like 90. Now they've got you in like a smaller room. They can start focusing with their assistant producers. Like they probably divided them up and like we're going to take these 10 kids and we're just going to follow them around and try to get some backstories on them. And we're constantly being pulled aside, give us more, what else you got? And
Yeah.
I just always felt like, I don't know, like, maybe I should have made up some crazy story about my family, or I don't know, because the whole experience, it just was like the judges loved me, producers didn't like anything about my story whatsoever because they never came to the diner or did anything in Branson. Once you get into the finals, it's like you gotta give them every week. You gotta give them something, And it was like, I don't know. I've had a pretty good life. I'm pretty blessed. My mother didn't die of cancer. I don't have any
Drug
any heart,
addictions.
yeah. Nothing. So they just were like, this kid's been singing his whole life, and I've had a couple of really close calls to getting a record deal, and that's about it, But I've managed to pay my bills doing what I love to do, but they weren't the least bit interested in Branson, anything at all.
It's a commercial.
Yeah.
I always say that American Idol, especially, it's just weeks of a commercial to sell whoever ends up winning it. Whoever ends up in the top, because they own you, pretty much.
Yeah, the contracts, I don't even, it's pretty standard first new artist contract, but they get you guaranteed for a while. And that's the tough thing. But, if you're just the iTunes reimbursements, because everybody downloads your single, watch you perform it, you get a nice thing from Ford if you're making it in the top 10. They shooting the commercials every week. Even if you don't win, you're on tour, you get like I think 8,000 a show. And they have like 60 shows lined up for the summer plus merchandise deal, while you're out on the road. So if you can make it into the top 10, I'd say you'd probably walk out with a cool couple $100,000 in your pocket, after it's all said and done.
Yeah, and it's good for people that are trying to get that break, but especially on America's Got Talent, they get a lot of people that have careers already.
Right.
And you don't want to make it too far because you don't want to be in that contract. I know a lot of guys that go on with the intention of, I'm going to get myself voted off in 3 weeks. Like I'll get enough exposure to use I've been on America's Got Talent sort of thing.
That was the crazy thing for me is that I never expected any of that, and then you never feel any of that because you're always in a car and you've got this to do. We're going to go here. We're going to shake this guy's hand. You're going to go to this building. We're going to rehearse for everything. You got somebody with you all the time. You never feel the fans, Right. And then you get cut and they move you off to another hotel because you're off to do the Fox junket exit thing for every single Fox affiliate across the country, and you have to be up at stupid o'clock in the morning to do that on the West Coast. And then after you're done with that, they're right off to the airport, and they're like a dove, like released back into the wild. Yeah, no security, nobody's around you, and then like all of a sudden you start seeing the wives tugging on their husbands and pointing, and I was just like, that's when it hit me, like, oh my gosh, I was just on the biggest show in the world last night, and now here I am trying to get home, and I had a layover in Memphis, and it was like mass hysteria, like sitting there for, I think it was 2 hours waiting in for my plane, and I was eating in Burger King, and people are taking pictures of me, and I never had to, I don't know, I got home to Branson, and I was in Bass Pro. All I wanted to do is just like get a log cabin at Big Cedar and go fishing for like 2 days and just kind of just let me reflect on what just happened in the last 9 months of my life, because it was amazing, but just it's all everybody would associate me with for 2 years.
Right.
I went back to the diner, and you try
to
wait.
Is that what you came back to? You came back to that?
After, it took a couple months for let everything kind of die down, and I had a lot of just special appearances and things that I had to go to all over. I went back home to Texas, and they did a big welcome home deal for me there with their Fox 4 News over there. And when I finally got my head straight and came back down to reality, I was like, well, now I got to pay the bills.
Yeah, right.
You know? Now what do I do?
How far did you make it?
I got into the top 10 males, like top 20 overall.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't know you made it that far, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I've never really watched the show.
Yeah, I got to the top 24. They have 12 guys, 12 girls, and then they vote off 2 girls and 2 guys each week until you get down to the final 12. And then
so you're
it's
in the
just
top 20, top 10 guys.
I say top 20 just because when they voted off the 2 guys and 2 girls that night, they don't ever, you're in no particular order. It's just, here's the 4 going home. I don't know if I was 17, 18, 19. I don't care. A number is a number, you know. Yeah. 102,000 people audition. I'm cool with
that is pretty
20, you know.
Pretty cool.
It's nuts, you know.